Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a river from Ukraine. That also happens to be a reverb. YOLO Composing Gloves here, and today I'm going to show you one rad, completely free reverb plugin for both Mac and PC. Oril Reverb. I believe I'm saying that right. Before I get into features, let's first listen to some demos. First, we have two different skins. Simply click in the panel by the preset menu to select your poison. We have the nice stoic clean view and the industrial venom spitting oil processing monster view. It's nice, you know? On the right side of the interface, we have our classic reverb sliders. ER is our early reflections. It is used for control over the first few reflections in a room. That's how you get that nice ambience. If you look over to the left, you will see an early reflections section. Try saying that 5 times fast, with several variations. Each one is a different algorithm for those first early reflections, so you can get the exact sound you're looking for. We then have the Reverb Slider for control over the level of the long signal, the tail end. And we also have variations for this as well. And finally, we have control over how much processed signal is allowed in with the wet slider. All the way down is completely dry, and all the way up is a mix of 50-50 wet-dry. This slider is a little weird because the dry half of the slider is on the other side of the plugin rather than being a wet-dry knob. So it's been broken into 2 sliders. You can click on any of the labels to mute any of the channels, which is very useful for the early reflections and reverb sliders. Going from left to right, we have a slider, which controls the mix of the dry signal. So this is the other half of that other slider. When the slider is all the way up, we have a 50-50 mix of processed and unprocessed signal. And when it's down, it's a completely wet signal. If you click on the dry button at the top, it leaves you with a totally wet signal. Yes, you click a dry button to get a wet signal, and a wet button to get a dry signal. Go figure. Next, we have the pre-delay. Turn it up and you get a delay on the reverb signal, which can create some cool drum effects and is very useful for simulating large spaces. We also have the width knob, which takes you from mono to stereo. There's also a massive decay knob, which controls the decay time of the long tail end of the reverb. Room size will change how large or small the simulated room you're in is. The larger your room, the longer the upper mids and high end of your verb will play. I'm sure this knob is connected to more things, but when I turn it, I usually notice this the most. Diffusion controls how the reverb computes the shape of the room you're in. A properly diffused room will have a smooth reverb, while a small room with no diffusion will suffer from flutter echo. Damping controls how long the high frequencies ring. High frequencies are very important to the sense of space. They also indicate the atmosphere we're in. So if we're in a sweaty, wet atmosphere, something that's really humid, high frequencies will actually get further than normal. We also use them to tell distance. So if someone's really close to you and they like whisper in your ear, there's a lot of high frequencies, whereas those high frequencies are usually absorbed in air over distance. So when someone whispers, we can tell they're super close because there was a lot of high frequencies in your voice. So it sounds like they're close. Intensity also controls how fast this absorption happens. Be careful with this knob. I've gotten a resonance response out of this section, which can be avoided by just changing the intensity knob. And the intensity, again, just controls how fast the turning down of the high frequencies occurs. So if it's occurring really fast, you tend to hear the resonance as it turns those frequencies down. We also have a cutoff control to say where the damping should start in the frequency spectrum. Finally, we have modulation, which modulates the pitch of the reverb signal. They don't mention this anywhere. It's sort of just assumed because when you talk about modulation with reverb, it's assumed to be pitch. You can hear it at work on a sine wave, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Depth controls how much pitch modulation is allowed. The speed control just controls how fast the modulation is happening because, it's a speed control. So higher speed, faster modulation. This can be really useful for breaking up ringing in a sound. If you have a sound that suffers from it, go ahead and try and mess with the modulation control. There is also a 3-band equalizer, some presets, and a bypass button. And you can click on the name and see who actually made the plugin. And you can also see his testimony of Jesus Christ, which I actually think is super cool. Okay, so that's Oril Reverb. Thought I'd just play through some more examples and show off some of its abilities. Okay, that's Oril Reverb. Thought I'd just play through some examples and show off some of its abilities. It's pretty mind-blowing that this is a free thing. Make sure to comment on the KVR page and say thank you to the developer. This is also where you can download it. Thanks for watching. Say something funny in the comments or just say hi if that's all you want to say. I'll say hi back. Subscribe and have a blessed day.